Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to tell you about 5 romances where a good girl turns bad. Even the title of this video sounds so funny. I just can't take this trope seriously. But it's still really fun, and none of these books I would say are objectively good. Maybe one of them. That's the one I'm going to talk about in the end, because it's my favorite. But most of them do not have the best writing or the most thought out plot, but they are so fun to read. And I personally really love the trope of when a good girl or a girl that is really focused on her academic goals then goes out and discovers what else the world has to offer. That's just something I really enjoy. And most of these books incorporate that because obviously these are good girls that are turning a little bit bad, if you can even call it that. And I'm going to start with the book that started this list for me because it has the fitting title, The Good Girl's Guide to Being Bad. It is by Cookie O'Gorman, which I'm not sure if that is a real name. Can you call someone Cookie in America? Is that possible to have that as a first name? Pretty sure it's not possible to call someone that in Germany. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in. Anyway, back to the book. This book is about Sadie, and Sadie is a really typical good girl, but she is tired of that. Sadie wants to be a dancer, and she gets told at this dance competition that she isn't really edgy enough, and that's why she wants to work on that, which is understandable. And her best friend Kyle and her other friend, who is 79 years old, she's called Betty, they really support her in her decision, and that's why they get Kyle's brother, who's called Colton, to support her in that, because Cole is kind of like a bad guy, and he ends up making this list that they work on, like this list of things to make her turn bad. And Sadie makes this list, which is supposed to be kept secret, but Colton then finds out about it. It is like this carpe diem list, so it's everything that Sadie wants to do that she didn't have the courage to do before. But these are things she just wants to do once in life or wants to try out. Of course, it has to do with dancing, but just also general stuff. She's like one of these really good girls. She hasn't even cursed or anything. So she has a lot of points on her list that she needs to cross off, and Colton ends up helping her with that. But actually, because Colton is such a bad guy, they don't actually get along. They are more like enemies in the beginning. So this is an enemies to lovers romance. And it's YA, so it's still really cute, even though she turns bad. And most of these books actually are like that. Overall, I thought this was a surprisingly good story with interesting side characters, and I did like the plot and that she was doing this for herself and for this dance competition and for following her dreams, and not because she likes a guy or anything like that. It was her intention, and yeah, I just thought that was really cool. As I said, the side characters, just that she had this friendship with this older lady, and that was just really cute. But obviously this book wasn't too deep, and it's more for entertainment purpose. The next book is Project Personality by Kelly Ann Blount and Lynn Rush. This is actually part 2 of a series, but I didn't realize that when I was reading it or before. I just realized that after I finished it, and you can definitely read it as a standalone. It doesn't take anything away from the book. I would say, even I haven't read the first one, so I can't really tell, but I didn't miss anything while I was reading this book. So these authors, or at least Kelly Ann Blount, is apparently a really famous Wattpad author. I don't really read Wattpad romances, so I don't know about that, but she seems to be doing pretty good on there. So maybe if you're into Wattpad, that is interesting to you. But the title of this book really says what you need to know about it. It is a project personality, so it is basically this girl. She's called Hope, and she realizes that she has focused so much on all her academic life and all her activities are based around that, that she doesn't have really this type of personality that would be interesting enough for in college, I say. And she really wants to get into MIT. So that's why she needs to spice up her life and her personality so that she can write this essay and basically make her application more interesting. Which I think is a really funny concept, because just trying to get a personality for a college essay is just such a wild concept, I don't know. And it's also important for her interview, because she has this interview in 2 weeks. That is a pretty short time. I don't know, if you don't really have any interest or anything that makes you interesting as a person, even though I don't believe that is really the case, then 2 weeks of trying aren't really going to get you anywhere, and I don't think you can really try to have a personality, because what does that even mean? It's just really life experience that gives you that, and it is to be expected that some kids coming from school, straight up from school and then going to college, how are they going to have all this interesting life experience? I mean, if you didn't have like this difficult childhood or anything, then you're already privileged and blessed, and that should not be anything that makes you less interesting. I don't know. That is totally besides the point now, because that is just the premise of the book. The way she decides to go about this project is that she asks Landon for help, who is really popular at her school, and he is also a football player. And why should someone like him help this socially awkward girl who is just trying to get into MIT? You might ask, and that is a valid question. She helps to save his life in the school cafeteria, and that's when she asks him if he can help her. After that, he can't really say no, so he ends up the one being in charge of this project and kind of pushes her outside of her comfort zone. And that's the book. That's it. Obviously, there are some more topics that are being touched upon in this book that are a little bit deeper, like we're going back into their past and learning about their personal lives and backgrounds and family and stuff like that. And all of that was really, really cute. And I really did like there was a bit of a deeper storyline behind this whole book, besides her trying to get a personality. And therefore you should really check out the content warning of this book, because the author has provided one and you can just check it out. What I liked most about this book though was that the main character Hope really had these higher aspirations, and that she wanted to get into this really technical field and was really working hard for that. I think it's always good to have this kind of representation in YA or new adult books. The next book I'm going to tell you about is a bit of a wild card. It's like this really trashy book. It's really trashy. But I still wanted to include it, because sometimes you just want to read these kind of books. I think this is one of the books that you would enjoy if you enjoy like the After series. It's called Beautiful Disaster by Jamie Maguire. And this book really isn't good, but there's a film. This book has actually been turned into a film, and I don't know how or why that happened, but it exists. And yeah, if you want to, you can also watch the movie. I just watched a commentary of Dylan is in Trouble, and that was enough for me. That was funny, but that is the only way I could consume this film. Yeah, what is this book about? This book is about Abby and Travis. Abby is this good girl and she just starts going to college and she's trying to get over her troubled past, and now she's being like really nice and stays out of trouble. She doesn't drink, she doesn't swear, she doesn't do anything bad really. And then she meets Travis. And Travis is a bad boy. He is the definition of how an author would describe a bad boy. He has tattoos, he has a lot of one-night stands, he likes to flirt, but he also really gets in trouble, and he's part of a fight club, like this ring fighting scene, I don't know. That is the weirdest part of this book. But yeah, that happens and he is in that, and yeah, I don't know if people think that's cool, but I can see why people think that is dangerous. But for some reason Abby and Travis have this chemistry between the two of them, and they end up having this bet where I don't even know why, but I think it's about him having to be abstinent from girls and her moving into his apartment for a month. If, I don't know, either of them loses, of course she has to move in with him. They end up getting in trouble together. So yeah, it's really trashy, but also so funny, and if you're into that kind of book, I would really recommend it. I don't know if I can even say that. I gave it 2 stars, so I can't really say I would recommend it, but if you're into that, I would recommend it. Do you know what I mean? Let's just move on from that and right to the next book with a very fitting title. It is called Misadventures of a College Girl, and it's by Lauren Rowe, and Lauren Rowe has this whole series that is always titled Misadventures of and then something something. This is the only one of those that I have read, so I can't really say anything about the series. Just wanted to let you know if there's anything else you're interested in, because she really has a lot of those, and they all have really fun titles. So, Misadventures of a College Girl. The college girl in question is Zoe. Zoe is a freshman, and she really wants to lose her virginity for some reason, and she decides to do that on a college party where she doesn't know anyone really, except one of her friends that she came with, and she wants to like find a random dude. And the guy she chooses is Tyler. Tyler is, I don't know, football player. But Tyler is also actually a decent guy who, when he finds out that she's still virgin, kind of starts this conversation with her, and she doesn't really like that though, because she feels rejected by him. And that's also why she doesn't want to see him again. But of course, fate steps in and they end up being in the same class together. And then Tyler really puts in an effort to get to know her better and to spend time with her again. And I really like that because it was really cute. I didn't think the conflict was the best. I really thought the start of the book and also the chemistry between these two was really good. And this book is also more new adult than YA, so it has a lot more spice than the other ones, except for obviously Beautiful Disaster, but we're just going to ignore that. Moving on to the last and my favorite book out of all of these, it is Easy by Tamara Weber. Easy is a book about Jacqueline. Jacqueline just moved to college, and she did move to this particular college because she followed her boyfriend there. His name is Kennedy, but soon after they start, he dumps her unexpectedly, and now she is pretty lost in life because she just moved there and she basically did it for him, and now he just dumps her. So for a few weeks she's pretty down, and her college courses kind of suffer from that, and then she decides that she needs a tutor for one of her courses, and her professor connects her with this tutor, and they end up emailing each other back and forth, and they start having these really fun interactions just over their email conversation, and that is really, really cool. I like that a lot about the book. And then she also realizes that there's this guy in her class that she really thinks is cute and interesting. His name is Lucas. And soon after that, she actually gets harassed or assaulted by a different guy who used to be friends with her ex, which is really complicated. But basically, Lucas comes and saves her in that situation before something worse can happen. And she is really traumatized after that, obviously. And this book also deals a lot with her overcoming that and overcoming this fear and trying to learn how to defend herself and how to gain back the emotional strength to deal with that. And what Jacqueline doesn't know is that actually Lucas and Landon are the same guy. So she's been talking to him this whole time, but now Jacqueline has gotten to know Lucas as well, and she thinks he's really cute and interesting. But then again, she has Landon, this guy that she's been texting with the whole time, and they have this great chemistry as well. And now she's really confused and doesn't know what to do. So we kind of have this love triangle situation going on there, and that is so cool and interesting. And yeah, Lucas kind of is this secretive boy as well, so she doesn't know a lot about him, and he doesn't tell her everything about himself, and that's why he kind of is the bad boy. So yeah, this is also a little bit of a good girl, bad boy romance. Definitely not as much of a bad guy as in the other books, or in a different way, but still, I really wanted to include this book because it's so good. I love it. The characters in this are amazing. And with my favorite book, we now conclude this video. We now have 5 romances where a good girl kind of turns bad. I really hope you enjoyed them, and I hope you found one of them that you want to try out. If I would have to say one, it's obviously Easy by Tamara Weber, and if you're looking for something really trashy, then go for Beautiful Disaster, but otherwise don't, maybe. I hope you found that interesting, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye!